Hello, welcome back to my tutorial series. Last time we went over on drawing faces. So we were left with this head-on face and this one at a slightly high angle. The perspective is that you're high up and the character is below you. This time around I wanted to focus on drawing hair. And so what you want to think about hair is in three separate pieces or sections. The hair is usually going to be composed of bangs, sides, and backs. So to show this, I got one of my old drawings here, and I'm just going to sort of highlight the areas. For the bangs, they're usually going to be up in this area right here. A little bit more like this. There we go. The bangs are front and center of the face, and they usually go like they're either resting above the eyes or they might droop over, depending on both the length and the perspective. The next section are these sides, and this is going to be the composed parts right here. These little bits that I drew down here, and right about there. They might sometimes cover up the ears, and sometimes the ears will just be poking out. Other times just completely eclipsed. It just depends on the style and how you draw it. The last section is the backs. And in this drawing you can only see one side of the backs. But they're like the part that attaches to the back of the neck and just in the back of the head in general. So in order to draw this, and I'll get my sketch tool back, you'd want to think of the hairline first. And for people who are not familiar with where to put their hairline, I'll go ahead and sketch it now. The hairline generally starts right somewhere close to the ear, for females at least. And it goes up and then over again. It generally does a horizontal line across and then back down into the ear. If you're drawing shaved heads, knowing where your hairline is going to be very helpful. Also, if you're a beginner, you might want to practice the hairline a little bit, just to understand where your limits are, where you can and can't put hair. But once you get a general hang of it, you don't generally need to put in your hairline or anything like that. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go on new layer. I'm going to turn the hairline layer back to like a 32. And just like before, you want to draw these in simple shapes. I'm going to draw a specific hairstyle that sort of like practices a bunch of individual things. So what I'm going to first do is start with the bangs. I'm going to start right around there. I'm going to let the bangs go slightly above the eyes. It'll cover the eyebrows. Just like that. And then there you go. At this stage, we don't really want to be neat. We just sort of want to get the shapes that we want to be placed in. Next, I'm going to have the hair pulled back into a sort of like a hair bun or a ponytail. So I'm going to mark where the divide is going to be, right about there. And from there, I'm just going to draw a loop, sort of like a curved shape on both sides. The hair is not going to be realistic, but when it comes to just an anime style, you can usually be free to draw however you want. So to get the next part, we're doing the sides, and that's part of the pullbacks here. So we're just going to go down a little bit past the ear. we're just going to make sure it stays in line with our hairline there. I'm going to do the same thing there. Goes in over the ear, back where we have our the dividing part for the hair. And then we'll do like some general hatching right there to give the idea of the hair is being pulled. And lastly, the backs are mostly going to be covered up, but I'm going to imagine this character has like the back of her neck relatively shaved. So we're just going to draw a little thing right there. And go a little bit lower. Down. And over. And then just to have a little bit there, and a little bit there. So what we got now is a basic shape. Oh, and before I forget, we want to draw the hair bun. It's mostly going to be covered, so don't think too much about it. And there we go. It's just sort of a circle shape. We can start drawing in some extra details, like the hair bun is going to go this way. Spiral and spiral a little bit that way. I'm probably going to add some sharp bits here. So yeah, we have just a few extra details. Maybe the hair splits right about there. These are going to be blunt bangs, so that's why I'm drawing it sort of with a flat shape at the bottom. And there we go, that's pretty good. We can draw some hair fringes here and there, just to give some personality. And there we go. So I'm going to take the original sketch, I'm going to go down to a pretty light layer color, probably 20% opacity, and get rid of the hairline. I don't really need it anymore. I'm going to turn this rough sketch down to about 32. And then we'll do a new layer. And on top of the basic shapes that we drew, we're just going to start drawing in some fine details. So I'm going to let this be a hard line all the way in. Right about there. Let this go in. And draw a new line there. Let it be a little on the sharp side. We're just broken up in general. We're just going to move in our shape inwards. We're going to let it be flat. We're going to go up slightly and then start a new section of the hair. You'll notice that I'm not drawing the lines complete. I'm letting them be broken up. Just sort of like to give off the impression that the hair is bunched together into a more of a solid object rather than it being like all choppy all the way through. Next I'm going to draw the flat shape again. I might just draw a few sharp bits here before finishing the shape. The hair does get straight here, so you'll notice how the hairline here curves, whereas you get more towards the center it gets straight, and then over here it's gonna do more curving towards that way. I'll let that just be plain flat. because I am going to be intersecting with that shape. So I'm just going to go ahead and start doing some sharp pieces. And there we go. It is a little uncomfortable for me to draw in this direction, but I should be fine. I'm just going to go down. I'm just going to finish this up. So there we go. You'll notice we didn't follow exactly to our basic shape. We just added in more details and stuff like that. You're free to add whatever details you want to. It's all just really creative stuff that you can do. So next I'm going to do the top of the head, and you can either do it flat like that, or sort of do like a texture effect like that. And that's what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to go in like that. Just sort of break up the shape. There we go. Next up, we got the parts where the hair pulls back into a to where the hair bun is. I'll work on the hair bun in a second. And my neighbor's just rolling stuff around. That's fine. I'm going to do the broken up look again. And then for the hair bit here, I'm going to let them be tangential for the most part at the front, but then I will eventually break it up right there. The same there. There we go. And then I'm going to do the same over here. Just have the hair broken up. It can be a flat shape if you like, but I usually just like to have that texture just to give sort of an uneven look. There we go. So now that we got the hair pulls a bit, just add some extra lines, make sure they curve. We'll go ahead and next, well, I'm still focusing on the sides, so I'll worry about the bun in a second. From here, I'm just going to draw sort of a shape out, a little hair strand out this way. And of course, following the hair shapes is more of a suggestion rather than a rule. If you ever feel like you want to go outside of whatever you drew, that's completely fine. And there we go. Next, I'm going to do the same thing over here. Just draw the shape going downwards. Turn it back up. And just draw that extra shape in. I don't know what that is. Just get rid of it. Might draw a few extra bits here, just so that it doesn't look too awkward as well. There we go. And then lastly, we're going to draw the back pieces. And we'll start right here. This will be relatively straight. Same right here. And there we go. Draw the little shaved parts going down her neck. And then lastly, the hair bun. So make sure if you do have these sort of like texture pools, make sure that the lines do not go into the actual intersection there. Try to be outside of it if you can. Yeah, I want to avoid that. There we go. There we go, that's the hair bun drawn. If you want, I usually like to add these. You can add some loose hair bits as well. They're, of course, completely optional. Once you're done, I'm going to delete the hairline because I don't really need it. Once you're done, go ahead and delete the basic shapes because you don't need those either. Keep this, move your original hair, the original face to 32. And on the face, just start erasing the bits that you don't really need anymore. We are going to be erasing the majority of the ears. Probably we can just erase that side. I'll leave a little bit actually. Just try not to be erasing anything that you do actually need. And we're going to let the eyebrows and the little eye bits just be see-through. You can erase them if you want, but you could be losing a great deal of facial expression. So just keep in mind when doing that. We're going to return the opacity back to the original 100. And that's the hair for the head-on face, and I think we made a pretty good design. It's a little on the complicated side. I don't imagine anyone actually styling their hair like this. That would probably be very difficult. Oh, one thing I did forget. You can add in things like hair clips. So why not right here? You just draw just a little shape. Just a little bar. Right about there. There we go. Now I'm just going to go over it a little bit. Don't want the edge to be tangent with the hair clip that you're drawing. And let's say we give her another hair clip. Let's go ahead and give her like a little, I don't know, a little face. Maybe a skull. Just wherever you feel is nice. If you don't want to draw this, then you don't have to. I don't like that. There you go, that's pretty good. So yeah, you can always add in little extra bits. And when you're done, go ahead and just merge the layers together. And your rough sketch is now complete, at least for the head on. Next we have this other face that we did draw, and we're going to draw a different hairstyle. First, what I am going to do is I'm going to raise up the eyes a bit. They're a little bit too low for me. You don't have to if you don't want to. But this is just my personal preference. Just raise it up a little bit, just a little. And then reconnect the line. Alright. So what I'm going to do next is, of course, plot out the hairline again. So it goes down, across, and then down. So right about there. It doesn't have to be perfect. Again, this is more of just a guide. But what I'm going to do now is going to draw half of the head to be shaved. That's a pretty popular hairstyle that I typically see sometimes. So what I'm going to do now is just like before. Did I draw the hairline? Yeah, I did. That's fine. Just grab what I add, do Control X to cut it, and then Control V to go on a new layer. And then I know I'm probably going to be losing this part right here, but just rebuild it back again. Alright, now we can start. So let's draw the hair to be shaved up along this way. It will go up, then over. Kind of like that shape. There we go. Just sort of have like this sort of like loaf of bread on top of your hair. That's the way I like to think about it, I guess, when I do this kind of hairstyle. It'll be tight around here, so you'll probably see some fringes. And then for this, draw the hair along the edge. Let it really be broken up on this corner. Then back down. That's all you really need. You'd be ready to go. I might give some more details before I go, not leave it completely to the imagination. We're just gonna have some pretty sharp spikes. Have it be curved in a bit. There we go. And then just like before, on the back, just have the hair going up and along the neck. So I think this is pretty good. Lower the opacity to 32, or wherever you prefer, and get rid of the hairline here. Don't really need it anymore. I might just lower this layer down to like a pretty light layer as well. Maybe like a 20. Do a new layer, and we're going to start getting work on this part. So I'm going to go ahead and just sort of make this shape go down and connect into the skull where I want it to. And the hair does go off a little bit of the screen, but that should be fine. It's nothing to worry about. And right here, I'm going to go ahead and just start building up the shape. I'm going to have that texture effect to give the idea that the hair is being pulled tightly. We're just going to go ahead until we reach back into the original spot. Extend some of these little points that we made. That should be good. Next, we're going to go ahead and sort of just draw what would be the bangs. This is directly center of her forehead. But it's going to go down, go back in sharply. Back in. And as I'm drawing it, I'm just sort of like trying to imagine how the hair does look and how the hair should be resting at its position. So this is pretty close to the edge. That's good. Can probably just draw a little fringe there and go back in. I want to clean that up a bit. Probably not a good idea. Just sort of like change direction like that. There we go. That's one side. That's at least the main part of the hair that we need to worry about. Then down here at this side a bit. And there we go. Next we're going to do the hairline. Just make it more well defined. Just sort of be creative with the hatching. I would recommend the hatching be here, but like places like right here and here are more or less going to be left up to your interpretation. So however you feel. Turn it back in, and then there we go. Next, what I'm going to do is sort of give it some 3D perspective. So I'm just going to draw some hatching right along there. And back down. I'm going to do the same along here. Just draw some edges where the hair is going to be poking up a little bit, because while it is shaved, it's not like to the skull kind of shaved. It's got some weight to it, just barely, but it's still there. There we go. Now I did add in a cowlick here and there. I doubt there would be any cowlicks on this kind of hairstyle, but you know, it's just there. We can have fun. The idea for how I do my cowlicks is that it's thin on both the edges where it starts and ends, but it's thick towards the center. That's how I usually draw it. Once done, go ahead and just remove the extra stuff that you don't need. So I don't need the basic shapes. And then I'm going to take this up to 32 just so I can see it better, and then just a little bit more. There we go. And then just erase the bits that you don't need. So probably up along here. Erase that. Erase down the hair edge. And that's it. You don't really need to erase anything else. Turn the opacity back up. And merge the layer below. And there we go. That's it for hair. So, very well done. Thank you for working with me through all the way up to this point. It's definitely been interesting to draw this, and I hope you're glad with how your hair outcome. You don't have to draw it exactly the way I do. Just feel free to experiment with hair in general. If you are having a more difficult time, I would recommend maybe looking at some of your favorites, the manga or anime, and try to copy how they draw. But it is just in general, look out for what is the bangs, hair, the sides, and the backs. And then draw the basic shapes first. Like if someone had like really spiky hair going out in every single direction, I would probably draw like sort of like a circle around their head, and then start drawing the spiky parts. But thank you for watching this. The next video will be focusing on doing line art, because now we have some completed artworks. I'm not going to do any clothing for this one because I just don't want to focus on that at the moment. Really, because the reason why is there's not a lot of space to draw clothing in. But we will be focusing on line arts and filling in the colors to make sure they're solid and ready to be shaded. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.